So, back in the shed. The B31 is up on the ramp again. Yeah, I've been having this problem with the gearbox. Selecting first and second, third and fourth has been fine. That's a bit of an intermittent problem. I thought I'd cured it. I put new lay shaft bushers in. Seemed to help for a little bit, but then sort of went back to the same old problem, especially when it was getting warm. So yeah, I've had the gearbox apart again, and interestingly, as soon as I pulled out the main shaft, that came with it. That is, let's point it on here, that's that bush there in the output pinion. Yeah, that's supposed to be in there, not supposed to come out. So that came out with the main shaft, or on the main shaft. So what I'm wondering is whether that was getting jammed or jamming these gears up, which has been causing the issue all along. Yeah, so that's the bush there. You see that has been, drop it. Yeah, you can see that has been getting, what looks to me like it's been getting warm in there. It wasn't particularly worn on the inside. There's a little bit of play there, but it wasn't too bad. Yeah, so as you can guess, I've replaced both those bushers. That's the other one. I did have to I did have a job getting that one out. As you can see, I had to put the slot down and get it out with the help of the screwdriver. So replace both of those, put new, and these ones are steel outers and bronze inners. So I've replaced those with new bronze bushers, which obviously I've had to ream those out once they were fitted. 13/16 I think they were. Yeah, so you can tell that this has been, well, I think that's been making contact with the gear, because there's a bit of a chamfer on there, and I'm sure that shouldn't have a chamfer there on the inside. It's quite a sharp edge here, so I think that has been wearing against the gear. I think that's been jamming in. I think that's been the problem. So I haven't tested it yet. I haven't been out for a ride on it to test it, because I've been doing, while it's on here on the ramp, I've been doing a little bit of modification to the primary side, because obviously I had to take all this out to get the gearbox out. And in fact, got a new hole there because I couldn't get the nut off. Probably can't see it in there, but that bolt down there, or stud, couldn't get the nut off that, so I had to take all this out to draw the stud out this way. I did try to drill it, but it wasn't that successful. Yeah, so that has all had to come off anyway to get the gearbox out. So while I was about it, I thought I would make a pointer so I can time this better, or easier, not better, but easier. So I've just got to work out the correct rotate, or get this in the correct position for timing, and then just put a mark on the pulley. So in the future that'll be much easier to do the ignition timing. This was just a piece of old bracket I had. I think that was what I was actually using on the old, when the old case was on there, to do the timing. yeah, so I should be able to get the old gun on there. The old flame. I've got two of these. Actually, this one is a inductive one that doesn't actually work quite so good as this old one I've got. Timing light I've got in there. Yeah, so I will be able to time that up much better. I've just got to work out where this mark needs to go. I might even mark top dead centre as well while I'm about it. And also thought about putting something around the front here. I've got some thin plate somewhere here. I was thinking about maybe bending that round the front just to give a little bit. I'll have to make it a bit thinner, obviously you don't want it that wide. Yeah, maybe just over the front there, around. So I've got to work out a way of bending that so you get a nice bend on it, and there, just to cover the front of the belt up, and maybe up here a little bit, possibly. Yeah, so that's kind of work in progress with this. I have got to have the head off this at some point. Top end is a little bit noisy on it. Yeah, so rockers valves need looking at. But yeah, work in progress. There we are. Just got this mark here, which is top dead centre. That's 38 degrees before. So I can now strobe this a little bit more accurately. And if you don't know, if you haven't seen my videos on this bike before, I have actually got an AccuSpark or PowerSpark module there. I did have to make up a back plate and everything, so I could still use the, if I can reach it, the manual advanced system on there. Let's see that moving. Right, so a static time. Just get this on that mark, and I already have a mark which I've previously put on here where this actually triggers. So, and there's a little line right there. You see that? Get a bit more light in here might help. There we are. Yeah, so there's a mark on that module, and there's a mark in the trigger cam, or trigger rotor, which I made. It's got a little magnet there. Yeah, so basically line those two up, and it's statically timed on compression stroke. Yeah, so I've got my coil in there, all my electrics in the toolbox. Right, so you can get an idea of what I can do with this piece of aluminium. I just cut a piece of it's paper, the same size. Card would be better, but that's what we got, so that's what we'll go with. And so I can now play around with this and see exactly what I can get, and use it to make a template up, so I can cut the aluminium, because what I want to do is, obviously it's going to come round a little bit. I want to have a little tab I can bend, so I can fix it to here, either rivet or small bolts or something. Yeah, so I will now have a little mess around with this, cut something out, and let's see what it looks like. Right, so there we are, that's the template. That will go up, that will fold down there, and I'll have a single fixing point through here. That will just sit around there something like that. Probably shape that, put a little bit of curve on there. I think that will probably do it. What I've got to do now is work out where I need to put the holes to fix into here, because obviously I've got through bolts or screws holding this plate on to this ring, and there's also the fittings or the screws which go through to the casing, which I know roughly where they are because they're between these ones. So there's 3 that hold this on, there's 3 bolts going to the casing. So I'll work out where they are and then put some fixings in, or drill some holes for where they can go. That just needs to hold that right there, that's all. So maybe 2 may even be enough. 1 at the bottom, 1 at the top, and then that one there. So I will mark them on here, then I can mark it all on the piece of aluminium and drill the holes first, and yeah, then cut it out. Okay, so I just transferred that onto the piece of aluminium. That's my little tab. It's going to bend there, and a couple of holes for fixing in here. I think before I bend that, because I want to keep this piece flat, in fact I want to keep it flat from out there, I think, somewhere around there. I think maybe I'll bend that first, but no, actually if I'm going to keep that much flat, I don't think I'll make any difference. Yeah, so next thing is to get a bend in it. Yeah, so I don't quite know how I've got to do that, but we'll give it a go, see what happens, find something to bend it around. It's quite thin, could possibly even bend it around there, but I really want something full width, and need something the same diameter as that really. So I'll see what I can find, and where I go with that. Right, nearest thing I could find was this piece of tube. So if I don't fully bend it, if I use it just as an aid to get a curve, I think we might be okay with that. So I need to clamp this in here fairly square. And this needs to be square as well. Too far out. Eyeball that really. I think that's too far out there. So this is fairly thin, so it should spring out and fit to shape, hopefully. Rotate this a bit more. Trying to keep this square as I can. Difficult to tell now, it's got Now it's got a curve on it. Let's try it there. Well, hopefully it'll find its own shape once it's on there. Right, see, it springs out a little bit, so I don't think we're going to be too far out. Right. Let's just try that there. Got a little bit of, obviously where you put the hole in, I've got a little bit of a kink there. So, something like that. I think that will actually work. Time I fix it on there, that's actually quite firm, because the only thing I'll have to watch also is this edge. This belt gets too flappy, it might catch that, so I might even have to put a little bit of a up sweep just on this edge, just to make sure. I think that will give it some sort of protection anyway. Yeah, so bend that now. Yeah, one thing I did just think about, had that straight cut down there on the sharp corner, it's likely to fracture there, so I have just drilled there and cut this extra piece out, so we've got a bit of a radius. Obviously tidy that up once this is bent round. My bend is going to have to be up here somewhere. Yeah, I've not quite got that in the right. I don't want to go too far back over the original casting, really. So yeah, my bend is going to have to be a little bit further back from that line, but that won't matter. That'll be perfectly okay. There's my bend. A little bit over bent, but that doesn't matter. Like I say, it's really thin stuff, so I can just manipulate it once it's on. So that will go on there like that. See that there? I was thinking what I could do, if this does look like it's going to hit on there, I could even change the angle of that and bend it up a bit and put the fixing further up, so we've got more gap here, and then that flat like that, have that up, kicked up a bit. Yeah, I may even do that to start, because I don't think I'm going to put any more around. If I was, I'd obviously want that flat, so I could join on another piece. But no plans to do that at the moment. I just wanted something to cover the front, really. I think that will do it. I'll just get this masking tape off, then I can mark my holes for my fixings, and that'd be, well, apart from a little bit of technophile to the edges, that's more or less it. There's one hole drilled and tapped. That's the easy one. I'm just going to use these little 5mm button head screws to hold the plate on there. Unfortunately, the one under here is going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'm pointing, you can't even see that, can you? Yeah, the other fixing is right under here, and frame is in the way, I think. So I might have to do what I was trying to avoid doing, and that is to take this off. However, I will just mark it first. I Can't see any other way of doing it actually, which is a little bit unfortunate because that means I'm going to have to take the belt off, take the pulley off. Don't think I'll need to dismantle the clutch. I think I'll be okay. I can just get some slack on here. Yeah, I've just had that covered over actually. Yeah, so I can actually just get access to tap it, which is a bit of a pain. If I had a longer drill bit, no, even then it wouldn't. Yeah, that's right in the way. Yeah, that's a shame. But I can fit it on here and mark it here anyway. So at least I can get that in the right place. Right, there we are. All done. See the other mounting screw there. One up there. And one in there. It looks like it's close to the belt, but it's not. There's actually get my finger down to get back there. Yeah, so I've just got that at a slight angle up, just in case this flaps around, so it can't catch that. And yeah, I think that should work quite well. Just sort of finish it off a little bit really. That was a little bit unfinished before. And then possibly, now I've done all that, something at the rear. I don't really know whether to do that or not. Hasn't been a problem so far. Like I said before, I might just put something on the brake pedal. Let's see about that. But I think that certainly will keep a little bit of muck off the front anyway. Yeah. So, job done. I think I'm going to put the other carb back on. Concentric, does seem to like that a bit more. Although I think this might have the wrong pilot in here anyway. So yeah, just got to mess around with that a bit. Yeah, I was either going, it's really hard to get a spot on, I was either going too advanced or slightly retarded, so I think I'd rather err on the side of caution and keep it slightly retarded. Could fiddle around with it a bit more until it gets spot on, but I think that's probably near enough. It's probably where it needs to be anyway with modern fuel. That's probably nearer 36 degrees spark, advanced spark, than it is 38, but yeah, that's probably alright actually. So I think we'll leave it there. I've just got to sort the carburation out, and then I'll take it for a ride and make sure that gearbox is okay now. But, yeah,